Hey, thanks for stopping my Mystic Messages. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I hope everyone is doing amazing today. These messages are timeless and will be received in divine timing for those who need to hear them. And as always, if they don't apply, let them fly. You can always come back for the next one. But I encourage you to hang out because if this message passed your feed, there might be something in here that you need to hear too. All right, that being said, let's get into it. Today's message is from Source, okay, for an individual or a group of individuals, okay? Whoever I'm speaking to right now has been wondering why things are stagnant in their life, why things aren't moving forward, okay, why things aren't going the way that they want to go. I'm speaking to a person who's very empathic. I'm speaking to a person who is very motivated to elevate their vibration, wanting to do something. You want to make a change for yourself in this world. You want to make a difference for others in this world. But you haven't been able to get that sweet spot yet. And there's a reason for this. Unfortunately, the individuals, like I mentioned prior, that you're hanging around with, and like I said, they could be family members, friends, coworkers, etc. Okay, they're lower vibrational individuals. Okay, these are people who like to gossip, malign, criticize, downplay, judge. These are all lower vibrational negative individuals. Okay, that when you hang around them, they lower your vibe too. And whatever negativity they're putting out, when it comes back to them, it could fall on top of you too. And that's what people don't understand. Okay. Now, it's difficult, okay, when we start to realize who these individuals are, especially when Source is showing us when we're unwilling to look for ourselves. It's very difficult to move on from people that we're comfortable with, to move on from everything that we know, whatever our life is, whatever our existence is. It's very difficult to move past that because we are creatures of habit as human beings, and that includes myself. When you're trying to get through a spiritual awakening, you're trying to elevate your vibrational frequency, it can be difficult, especially when the time comes that you have to move away from certain individuals. You have to remember you can't take everyone with you. You can't. Okay. Believe me, if I could have figured out a way, I would have did it myself. You know. And this period is not going to be easy. You're going to go through a lonely period. Okay. But it's essential if you want to ascend, if you want to get your life back on track and motivated. You have to move away from these lower vibrational individuals. And like I said, it's not going to be easy. Okay. But it's doable. As difficult as it is, it's doable. What I can promise you is once you move away from these individuals, things will start to pick up in your life. You'll realize, you'll see that things are going to start to get better. Not all at once, it starts to trickle in, but the more you stay firm in your boundaries, okay, the quicker you're going to move forward. Okay, but you got to keep those firm boundaries. Now, what I'm not saying to you is, what Source is not saying is you don't have to totally eliminate these people, okay? But you can love them from afar, okay? Hanging around them, sharing with them is not a good idea. It's not because it's keeping you stuck, okay? You've been wondering why things are stuck. This is why, you know. If and you've been shown, okay? Some of you have been shown, certain things about an individual or a group of individuals that you just realized that you might have not been aware of before because you were just accustomed to being around them and you didn't see anything wrong with it, and that's normal. We all find ourselves in those situations, but when we start to realize, when we get those nudges, when you start to get that sickening feeling in your stomach when you happen to notice something about someone, even if it's someone close, and that's when it hurts most. you know you might have caught them in a lie. You might have saw something that they did that was contradictory to who they say that they are. Okay, these are all signs letting you know that these are lower vibrational individuals. And if you're looking to, elevate yourself, you got to move away from them. And it's not selfish. Okay. I understand a lot of people who I'm speaking to right now, the individuals I'm speaking to in particular, are very empathic, very caring, very loving, very loyal. But we also have to learn, I'm like that too. Not everyone has the same amount of loyalty or empathy. Okay. A lot of people are there to siphon off of that energy, especially lower vibrational energies. And when they're siphoning off of your loyalty, your love, your empathy, okay, they're taking from you. Okay. And if you noticed, even when you're hanging around these individuals, another nudge that you might be receiving is that you're exhausted when you're done communicating with them. You might have realized that when you shared an aspiration with them, they downplayed it. Any type of a dream that you had, they mocked you, they laughed at you, and not directly in most cases, but in subtle ways. Okay, any type of an idea that you might have had. I'm getting that somebody wanted to write a children's book. I don't know who I'm speaking to, but somebody laughed at you when you shared that idea, and that prevented you from moving forward. Again, that's a lower vibrational individual who unfortunately has, lower vibrational entities working through them, okay, to bring your vibe down, to prevent you and others like yourself from elevating, okay, and doing what the divine realms is asking you to do, okay? This is why it's so important to get away from those people. This is why it's important to think of yourself first, as hard as that is, especially for empaths. Okay? That's a very difficult thing for an empath to do because we were made to believe that we were selfish, okay, if we thought of ourselves first. We were always there for everyone else. But think about it. More often than not, when the shit hit the fan, who the hell was there for you? Okay? And we don't hold a grudge about those things. We take that as a learning lesson from the divine, okay? Because that's the divine's way of showing us these people are not part of your tribe. They're not part of where you need to be. Now, like I said before, you can love these people from afar, especially if they're family members and whatnot. And again, it's your choice. If you want things to get better in your life, if you want to succeed, you have to make these hard choices, and that is going to entail doing some making some tough decisions of moving away from these individuals that you care about. Okay, and it's also very hard to understand and to internalize that these people that we care so much about don't always care about us, and it's very hard to realize that, especially when it's family or a close friend, to think that these people could be jealous of us in any way. Okay, so again, this message is to encourage you, to give you the strength, you know and for me to encourage you through my own experience. Okay, when I realized that I moved away from these situations and away from these people that were dragging me down, things started to get better in my life. Okay. And that was showing me those were the people that I needed to eliminate from my life. Okay. They're all learning lessons. They're karmic lessons in our life that we have to learn. Okay. So we can either choose to repeat the cycle, or we can learn from it, move on, and ascend and make our lives better for us. Okay. There's no greater love than loving yourself first. And again, it's not selfish. I know it sounds selfish because I used to think the same way, but it's not. It's about self-preservation, and unfortunately, in this false matrix, you have to save yourself if you want to get out of it. If you want to get past the constant, the hamster wheel of reincarnation, you got to get past it if you want. Okay, again, I can't force you. The divine can't force you. No one can force you. You're just here to be encouraged and to think for yourself and decide for yourself what it is you think is going to be best for you. And once you're able to figure that out and you put your head to it, stay focused, keep your nose to the grindstone, and keep moving forward. Don't look back. Live in the moment. Love the lower vibrational entities. Okay, you wish them no harm, but keep boundaries. Boundaries are very, very important. Not always being available for people to siphon off your energy, whatever they want. Not always being the sounding board for them to, to latch onto. Okay, and then dragging you down in the same instance. Okay, it's not cool, because once you're done giving to everyone else, there's nothing left for you to give to yourself or to push yourself to motivate yourself forward. And if you find yourself around individuals that are exhausting you when you're done with them, it's not helping. It's not a service to you. It's not helping you move forward. For instance, I had a very good friend who used to want to keep me on the phone hours on end, and I had to release her. As much as I loved her, but I realized she didn't want to change things in her life. Okay, she wanted to complain about things and cry about things, and anytime I came up with a suggestion to help her, she didn't want to hear that. She just wanted to hang out with me on the phone 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, which I couldn't do, because then I couldn't be out here, creating these videos and doing what I need to do for myself. And that's just an example. And a lot of times we hang on to situations way too long because we care too deep. Okay, but sometimes we have to care enough about ourselves and others to let them go because everyone has their own path to follow. Okay, and did I feel guilty about that? Yes, I did. But I had to learn to get past that because I realized it was dragging me down. And I also realized that she gave a shit that she was preventing me from moving forward in my life. She just wanted me to be there to have a shoulder to cry on, to listen to her complain constantly and not want to move anything forward for herself. And meanwhile, she was dragging me down with her. I stayed in many relationships like that because I cared. My past relationship I stayed with, with the person who I sat through rehab, phony suicide attempts, a person who lied to me about everything, who, used to tell me that, they had brain tumors and whatnot. And they would always seem to go to the doctor every time I was at work and I was never invited because they were lying to me. But the empath in me wanted to believe them and wanted to help them. And I realized this person's dragging me down. They got to go. Okay. Because these people will drag you down. Unfortunately, they will. So it's up to us. It's up to you, whoever I'm speaking to think enough about yourself, to love yourself first, and realize you're not being selfish in moving forward. You're just being intelligent, okay? You're just loving yourself first, which is the most important thing to do for people who want to ascend. Now, we do have some names and some locations that might resonate with you. This could be your name or someone in the situation that you're involved with. Let me just get my glasses on. I'll read them to you. Okay, names for today. I have Jacob, Mandy, Oliver, Sandy, Tyrese, Chantel, Amelia, Taekwon, Fernando. I also have some dates: January 19th, May 16th, June 27th, April 14th. Locations: I have Florida, Denmark, Australia, Wyoming, Louisiana, Tennessee, New Jersey, and Georgia. Now, if any of these dates, locations, or names happen to resonate with you, they could, like I said, they could be your name or someone else's name that's involved in your situation. That's just further confirmation that this message is for you. I hope that this helps everyone who it was supposed to reach, and I thank everyone again for stopping by, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care.